Spencer, Jeff Hurst, the Trevor Brooking and Billy Bonds, Paolo Di Canio, West Ham United. We celebrate our victories, we stick together in defeat. Proud of our history, West Ham United, more than just a podcast. More than just a podcast.
Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening. This is More Than Just a Podcast. It is season 13, it's episode 51, and the gang are back. Sorry about yesterday, my fault. My missus was coming back from Miami and I wasn't available, so we agreed to do it on Tuesday night. Thank you, boys, for waiting for me. It does mean that Johnny Boy's down the pub. It's Tuesday night pub night, but he said, I've sent him the link, he might join. A drunk John might join afterwards, which might be more
every night's pub night with him, isn't it?
Oh, he does like the pub, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, back. You've heard the dulcet tones. Nigel, where are you? What are you doing?
I'm in my shed.
Canning Townland, where are you? What are you doing?
I'm in the studio watching paint dry.
There. Hey, familiarity. That's what it's about, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, that's what the punters want. That's what the punters want. Not with David Moyes. But anyway, more of that later. We've got two games to discuss. We're going to try and remain calm. I don't know if you heard the podcast last week, Len?
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
We were calm.
We were calm when you were off as well.
Yeah, all right. So it's when the three of us together.
So-
It's a bit, you know. So, you know, I'm not going to upset you because if I play
I
something
think
like
they'll
this,
probably get the biggest win rate out of a certain amount of managers as well.
No wins in 12 now.
no,
That's
wins
what
in
he does.
12.
He wins.
Yeah. Well,
No, he has got wins in 12.
I don't think he has he?
Well, what do you call Wolves then?
Wankers. Fucking
Well, yes,
embarrassing.
I call Wolves
Waste of
that
our
at
time.
times.
Fucking waste of our time.
I can't even remember the Wolves game.
We won 2-1, but it should have been a draw. They got robbed of a late goal, didn't they? That was only 4 games ago.
anywho,
How was it?
let's start with a bit of positive reinforcement. Let's talk about Thursday night. We all expected maybe a defensive show, 2-0 down at half-time, all to play for in the Europa League quarter-final against Bayer Leverkusen, unbeaten in 43 games. I know you didn't go, Len. You're true to your word. You don't go to those European games.
I made it to the end.
Well done. Nigel, let's start with you, because I know were you there, because I saw you. One of
Yeah,
the
I was
best
there.
nights of your life in the London Stadium, true or false?
In the London Stadium.
Yeah.
I don't know, the Foo Fighters.
Football.
pretty good.
Nice. Football nights of your life.
Blimey, there's not a lot to choose from, is there? No, I mean, look, where do we start?
Light
no
show?
Paquetá,
Light show?
no
Light show?
Emerson.
Not the build-up, the light show.
62,000 seats actually sat
Yeah, absolutely full. There wasn't a single
in.
spare seat.
Yeah.
to see.
So, and considering we were 2-0 down against one of the best teams in Europe, you know, we were very much up for it with, I don't know, more hope than expectation. But West Ham, for once, turned up and delivered on our expectation of performance, definitely for the first hour, maybe 70 minutes, but worthy of that support. It's always good to get, when you're 2 down, to get an early goal back.
Yeah.
And
Mikel Antonio.
we spurned a couple of chances, so to get one on 13 minutes, so that's still left, you know, hour and 15 minutes to get another goal.
Yeah.
That actually then gives you the hope, doesn't it, or the belief but it's always
What
the
a
hope that
first
gets you
half.
in the end, isn't it? But I mean, yeah, I mean, and there is the comparisons.
The
There's
atmosphere, the
comparisons to be
light
made there.
show, the
No,
mosaic. Come
forget
on,
that.
there was a
Right.
bit of atmosphere. Come on, admit there was a bit of
Don't
atmosphere.
look. We've just had a nice chat off air, yeah,
Yeah.
about how calm it's been. Don't start with the bollocks.
What
yeah?
you're not saying the atmosphere was actually
No,
electric.
I've said the atmosphere was
Okay,
good. I
all
don't
right.
know it was electric, Sean.
Well, it was
Perhaps
downstairs.
in
Maybe
Rowan
upstairs it
67,
didn't travel.
it
Downstairs it
yeah.
was electric.
Well, anyway,
When do they give you a day's holiday, Sean?
they don't, mate. It's 365, isn't it? So with that in mind, it was good, but I don't know. When you look at the performance that we put in and compare it to the two previous games, and we'll talk about what happened after the game after that as well, is where does that performance come from? Because it baffles me.
It comes from the
when
players,
I
doesn't
sit
it? I mean,
and this is the thing.
it comes from the players, and it gets, I assume, right, just maybe, and I'm not turning Moyes out, I'm just saying Moyes went, got nothing to lose, let's go for it. I assume that's what he said.
So this is what I'm saying. So do you think this is actual directive of the coach that against Leverkusen in Germany and then against Fulham at the London Stadium, not so much Fulham, but the performances were a brave performance, you could say, in Germany, but a total waste of time because we still conceded 2 goals.
Yeah.
Where when we go out and play that way, without 2 of our best players, funny enough,
Paquetá and Alvarez out.
And Emerson, I was talking about. I believe Alvarez was there.
Oh yeah, sorry. Emerson.
Then you think that there is something amiss, isn't there? Because what it showed was, you can play like that then.
Yeah.
So therefore, those that go, well, if you can play like that, why is that the what's the best way to describe it? Why is that not the norm?
Well,
why is that?
You know the answer. You know the answer. He's defensive, and I'm sure you saw the interviews afterwards. Both Antonio and Ward-Prowse criticised the tactics in the first game and said we gave him too much respect in the.
But sometimes then I look at it and I go back to the old adage when I've spoke to pros and they say that 90% of what is said in the dressing room is forgotten when they cross the white line.
I'm sure.
What is it that the players then don't do? Because there are certain situations. I do think some of these players have been given a bit of an easy ride by the fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All been focused on.
All
David
been
Moyes,
focused on David Moyes, where collectively as a team, they have put in performances that have really stank, and I ain't got on to Sunday yet.
Well, let's just call out the team. So to congratulate them, as you say, there was no Paquetá, who's been criticised of late that he hasn't put a shift in.
Or for turning up.
Fabianski. Oh yeah.
I point out if people didn't turn around and take photographs of those in attendance, people might not know that those not in attendance ain't there.
Well, look, they're always behind me. You know that.
So perhaps if you'd watch the pitch and the players that were in front of you that bothered to turn up rather than concentrate on the one for
Flynn Downs turned up behind
clicks.
me. So did Areola. And so did Emerson. So those 3 were there. Calvin Phillips.
Did you say Flynn Downs was there?
Flynn Downs was there behind
us.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a West Ham fan, isn't he?
Oh, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
what
well,
a man.
A lot of people like that. A lot of Southampton. Got a few clicks. But yeah, got a few clicks. Not as much as
the funny thing is.
Not as much as the Bayer Leverkusen jumping goal.
I look forward to the summer when he returns to the club.
Me too.
Well, let's see, but I think they've got an option to buy. But anyway, let me bring out the team. Fabianski in goal, Soufal, Zuma, Agurd in the middle, Cresswell, Alvarez, Souček, Bowen, Ward-Prowse, Kudos, and Antonio. And I'm sure you know, let's say it, Bowen had a pain-killing injection to start. It was touch and go whether he started, and we showed how much he probably just paid through the pain because he wasn't available at the weekend. You know, we know people have done that before, whether it's the right thing to do or not. A Gerd got a twisted ankle. A Bonner came on at half time. Cornet came on an 84 for Alvarez, and Ben Johnson came on for Sufal on 84. So, anything to say, Nigel? Obviously, it ended 1-1. We had so many. Let me just give you a stat attack before you answer. The stat attack was West Ham had 42% possession to Bayer Leverkusen's 58. 14 shots for West Ham, 6 of them on target, 9 shots for Bayer Leverkusen, 2 on target. We had 2 corners, they had 5. We fouled 19 times dirty West Ham to their 15. We clapped them off the pitch, Nigel. What could we have done more is my question to you before we go over to Len.
What could we have done more?
Score goals beyond the obvious.
Second goal.
Yeah, beyond the obvious.
Scored a second goal. That's what we could have done.
We
more.
came close,
and we came. You know, the Bowen chance where he volleyed and the keeper's on the line. Antonio away from touching in.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we could have done more, and that's in the last 15 minutes. Back in the old days, we would have had Zuma up front as a striker. Yeah, and we would have had a couple of players dropping off of them, and you would literally pepper them and push them back and just pepper the box with crosses, because at the end of the day, you know, as much as we all want to see nice football and everything, the last thing you want to do is get knocked out of a cup competition. And
we'd run out of steam, though. You know that.
Go out
Everyone
fine.
could see for the last 20 minutes, we just ran out of steam.
Right. Well,
we had no one on the bench.
No, and that's the thing. I'm sorry, Sean, because he ran everyone into the ground.
Yeah, too right.
And they still got, so therefore we'd have been better off putting people on the bench that may have been able. You don't know if they can effect a change until they're on the pitch. Yeah, Harry Kane, they didn't know how good he was until Tim Sherwood turned up and coached him as a youth and put him in the pitch instead of having him out on loan constantly. Yeah, well, that could be. There could be a player sitting on our bench waiting to do that, but they're not afforded that because Moyes looks at his bench, and this is on David Moyes, the substitutions. This is where he can tactically effect the result during a game, because all that standing on the touchline, 3/4 of the players can't hear what he's saying. Yeah, as I say, once they've crossed the white line, we're relying on the players. If he wants to effective a game, he gets the half-time team talk, and he gets to make substitutions. And there, he fouled big time.
He bought on Maxwell Cornet at 84. Stop laughing then. You have your say in a minute. Who else on the bench would you bought in? Would you have bought in?
Well, you should have bought players to go on the bench in the first place.
No, well, that's a separate issue, but he's there.
Through.
Yeah, and Mabama was on the bench. He could have put
so
in.
you're right.
Callum Marshall, I don't know if he was available to play, but he's in the European spot.
Yeah,
but he's back from West Brom.
He's not allowed to be used on the first team, I've been told, for some reason. Ings was available, unused.
Right, well, there you go. But hold up, hold up. Let's look at Danny Ings then.
Yeah.
Right, he's a bloke who funny enough, is the total opposite to Calvin Phillips. Yeah, because the less Danny Ings plays, the better he goes up in the estimation of West Ham fans, because he don't complain, you don't hear him whatever, and we can all see the mistreatment of him.
Yeah.
Because that's what it boils down to now. If you're desperate for a goal and you've got a player like Danny Ings in, and in the fair few games recently he has got on, he hasn't let us down. He's got to be worth a shot than going out, hasn't he?
Yeah. I think so. I always think he's got goal in him. And, I probably wouldn't have blooded the kids. I mean, the rest of the bench were kids, right? They were the, what did I say? The Orfords and the, I can't even remember their names. Yeah, so you had Mombama, Anang, obviously his goalkeeper, Knightbridge, Simon Sawyer, or Orford. Is it Orford?
Yeah, but all right. But
Casey.
Obama could have came on.
But
Ings
you're
could
right,
have came on.
Mombama. Ings would have been the choice that, maybe. How many did he use? Well, he had one substitution left. You're right, because you're allowed to make 3. He was forced to bring Bonner on for a girl who had a twisted ankle. Then he made a second one of 2 on
Ben
84.
Johnson and Cornet.
So he could have bought on Ings in the either on 84 for Antonio or bought him on late to try and change the game, but he didn't.
And then look. I won't even criticise the players for
They were clapped off,
conceding the
quite
goal.
rightly so.
Yeah, hold on.
They were clapped
They
off.
were conceded the goal. But by Leverkusen, unbelievably again at the
late
weekend.
goals. Yeah.
Just showed you they are relentless until that final whistle was blown. They are not out of the game, and against us, deep down, I think we all knew we weren't getting another one, though, didn't we? When that 91st. But look, it took a deflection. I was gutted for the boys, really, because I thought, do you know what? If we'd have gone out 1-0, we would have been the team that beat Leverkusen, which no one else had done. And I think that was a bit of a disappointment as well.
Yeah.
Overall, 3 European campaigns.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's an end of an era. Personally, I don't think it is an end of an era, but there
It
may
might
be
be a
slight
while till
pause.
we're there about. Look, Liverpool went out to Atalanta. No one would have backed that. They won 1-0.
Well, they would. They were 3-0 down.
They were 3-0 down, but before the 2 legs, you wouldn't have believed that.
No.
Marseille beat Benfica. Actually had to go through on penalties.
Look, it was
and
it would have been a tough ask.
Roma beat AC Milan, which was
and
a
on art,
surprise.
right? And on art, everyone.
Yeah.
I never once believed we could win the UEFA Cup.
No.
But
Yeah.
the funny thing about it is, when you're at home and then you pull one back,
Yeah.
it's not about winning. Suddenly, it doesn't become about winning the tie and turn the tie around. Suddenly, with what was happening at Liverpool, the cup was back on.
Yeah.
Of course, we could have got, it's a shame we didn't get a couple of goals.
Yeah, I wanted to beat their record. I wanted it to stay 1-0. So we
I
just
wouldn't care about that.
I don't know, it's small petty things, but let's move to you, Len. I'm hoping you weren't painting and you watched this one.
Yeah, I did.
How did it come across? Did the atmosphere come across at home, or was it just like every other TNT, BT Sports coverage?
I turn it down because, to be honest, they just get on my nerves when they're talking about it and they're doing the city light show and the DJ and shit. I'm not really interested in that, but it sounded fuller rather than louder.
It was the fullest. I tell you what, here's a be careful what you wish for, right? Everybody wants those every seat to be full up. You couldn't move on the concourse in our area. You couldn't move on the concourse. I mean,
I suspect it was for the fans that wanted to make noise as well, rather than the tourists.
There was a bit of day trippers out there, and
you'd say that just to pick up on that. And this
Sure.
is the thing: is everybody was there, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you look at the Fulham game, very sparse. So did the season ticket holders turn up, or is it that those that have got more than one season ticket that are there as spares didn't buy for it? So it allowed more non-season ticket holders. Was the atmosphere better because there was more non-season ticket holders at the game?
Yeah, I think you're right.
And
I mean,
this
obviously,
is-
John and George came. I bought an extra 4 tickets.
Just see what I'm saying? You can't buy, near enough every West Ham ticket is sold to season ticket holders for a league game. And it's dreadful.
Well, you didn't buy yours, though, did you, Nigel?
Well, no, hold up. I went to buy mine, and I didn't realise I'd missed the deadline by an hour. And by the time I managed to buy my 2 seats, which was only a couple of hours later, my lot are gone.
I'll tell you what. I'm sure you could see it from your seat. It was too deep in in the lower tier in,
Yeah.
in section 112. They weren't chicken tickets. There were so many people. The gangways were full. There were two abreast. It was quite a snug fit, let's just say. Anyway, anywho, let's move over to Lenny Boy. Lenny Boy. I don't know what the view from the sofa when as you say, the commentators wind you up. Were they, from what you've heard, complimentary about West Ham, or or was it all about Bayer Leverkusen?
I can't remember too much about.
Who was the commentator? Was it a lady commentator or a male commentator?
Can't remember now.
They probably wheeled out. I know. Obviously, if it was
it was,
it on BT Sport, it was
a Welsh boy, wasn't it?
I was going to say
Savage.
I
think
was
it
it?
was Savage? Yeah.
I know. Obviously, Carlton Cole was there, and so was Joe Cole. They were behind us as well. They were going pretty mental.
To be honest, it was a rare moment this year where it was so much all about the football.
Yeah.
And all about what's going on the pitch, because most of this time these commentators just want to talk about David Moyes all the time. And even I've run out of things to say about him. But
did you have a bit of pride with the players?
Less shame.
Okay, fair enough.
I won't go. I mean, I did see that people say I'm proud of them. And I thought, well, I can't paint people being fucking proud, can I?
I think they gave their everything for the badge. And when you look at that team, and that's why I read out the names, I think they gave everything for that badge. Forget the manager, and I have some belief on they were playing for themselves and their pride and the badge that night. They were 2-0 down, I think.
Well, they were in shit street. That's
let's
what we
just go for it. And they went for it, and it showed. And that early goal from Antonio gave them a little bit of confidence. And boy, we were so close. It was a game of inches.
Ordinarily, I thought we might have got 2 goals in that first half.
Yeah.
We were around lucky there. And that's really what the old game was about, really. Because the early goal gave us a little bit of hope, obviously. We deserved the second, I keep saying. That would have changed everything. It could have changed everything, but I don't know.
Do you know one good thing?
One good thing.
We earned £30 million from that. We earn more money by going out
from
the
old run,
final for the whole thing. So it's around 6.5,
fucking
7
10 million each.
6.5, 7 million from ticket sales, right? Because we sold 62,500 at the last game, obviously, slightly earlier from the home games. And then the prize money and the TV pool and the coefficient, which keeps on going up each year, we earned like 23.5 million. So, we earned 30 million. For winning the Europa Conference League, we only got about 20 million. So it shows you going out of the quarter-final. And when we got into the semi-final, we got about 40 million the year before. So it shows you where the money is. You go to the Champions League.
The bad news is that Moyes has already squandered that with his bad fucking signings.
Well, no, I think they're going forward. We'll
go.
talk about David Moyes and the manager position a bit later. Are we done now? Are we done on the Europa
Yeah,
League?
put it behind you.
Well done. Well done, everyone. 3 years of Europe. I don't think we're going to qualify this year, but it's been great. And if that's the last game for a while, it's been a hell of a journey. Hell of a journey. Right. Let's move on to the Crystal Palace game. It was another loss.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
Should we start with you, Len, this time?
I didn't watch it, mate.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
No.
So did you watch the highlights, or after hearing it was 5-2 full?
No, I watched it this morning. Yeah, I can't tell you what happened. It was just shit.
Right. I'm going to come back to you in a
all right, you can only...
Nigel.
Yep.
Shall
I give you our European stats? Would you like our
Yeah,
total
why not?
European
Why not?
Stats?
Let's
right. played 10 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
We scored 16 and conceded 8 in 10 games.
So it was an average 2-1 every game.
So yeah. So we had 97 shots in total. So roughly 10 a game. But on target, 47. So less than 50%. Off target, 41.
Yeah.
Possession in Europe across the 10 games. If it weren't for the 28% we had away, it would have been a lot better. But it was 49% in Europe. So, if you look at it, pretty decent. Just to cap it off,
Yeah.
I think we've had a great. We won our group again.
Yeah.
Which is not
It's
easy.
been a great adventure. That's you got your trip in Germany. I've got my trip in Germany.
Was that a trip?
What, my one to Frankfurt?
No, Nigel's to Germany.
Yeah, it was a trip, wasn't it?
What do you mean? Was it a trip? Of course, it was a trip. What do you think it was? I took in a bit of culture.
Yeah.
Met up with friends.
It's a good laugh. It's a good laugh. I wish I was. I'm jealous of Dodsey. To be retired and go to every single European away game over 3 years would be a dream. And I'm absolutely jealous that he got.
Well, I think he'll be glad to rest up now, won't he?
Yeah, I'm sure his bank balance.
I wonder what he was going to say then.
Well, do you know what? I'm not going to name them, but I know several people.
What, do you know their names, do you?
Well, I know their names, that people that go and they go,
oh,
my missus ever asks, say the flight was 100 quid or say the hotel was, why would she ask me? But certain people as well, Nigel, say that. I go, yeah, I told the missus it was like 100 quid for the flight and 30 quid for the hotel. And I said, how much was it? He go, yeah, 700 quid for the flight. And it was like 200 quid for the hotel.
Yeah,
so, a lot of mistruths probably told.
Oh, mate, it goes round, comes around. My missus told me we paid 650 quid for a dog, and I found out 4 years later it was a lot more than that. So.
We did all right. By the way, a mutual friend who took you to Germany,
you
listened to the podcast, said, I didn't know how much they paid for the ticket on the channel until I listened to the podcast. So he didn't know. He said they refused to tell me. He said, but I found out from the podcast.
Oh, right.
Did he tell you that?
No, well, that's how it should be, isn't it? Look.
It sounds like fun. A road trip sounds like a really good.
You know what?
And
this is the thing. If you take out the trips, if you take out the drive to catch the train. So from Calais, it's like going to, it's like going to Burnley or Newcastle. That's it.
Yeah.
It
is actually.
It is. I mean, we left the ground at midnight, and we got back to Calais, like just gone 4 a.m. 4 hours.
You did tell the story last week of you talking German in Belgium, yeah? Did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Good.
Yeah.
I can't remember if you said that off air or not. Anywho,
I think I did.
That's great to take us back and reminisce, but let's talk about the fucking car crash that happened at Selhurst Park. I nearly went and someone rang me up and said, oh, I've got some tickets, you and Finley want to go, but the missus was away and I had the dog and everything. So I thought, no.
What? Sean, the time to go football is when your missus is away.
Yeah, I know, but I had the dog and kids and
the dog. Hold up,
and,
hold up, Sean. Yeah. You got other kids, yeah, at home, yeah. They could look after the dog.
No, my kids were doing something else because one of theirs had a 21st birthday party in the day. So my young 14-year-old had some.
Was there a kid over the age of 10 at home?
No.
No kids over the age of 10 at home.
No.
Well, then you could have gone. Just left the dog at home. You can't hear it yelping.
I probably could have done. You're right.
Just leave it a bowl of water.
Anyway, I'm glad it didn't in some ways. It is a local for me. Croydon is local.
Actually, you say you're glad you don't. I think sometimes the gallows humour of the away fans when things like that happen could be quite enjoyable. Having watched a few.
Yeah, speaking to Mr. Turner, he seemed
Yeah.
to be like that. All right, let's
Where do
get it
we
out the
begin?
way. Where do you begin? Four goals down in 31 minutes. Let's start there, and I'm
Yeah.
just gonna start with the lineup as we did before.
So, as typically, don't worry about the lineup, Sean. Just
Well, it was the same, wasn't it, in goal, except for you had Fabianski, you
yeah.
had Zuma and Bonner in the middle, Emerson back, Suchek Alvarez, Kudos, Ward-Prowse, Paquetá, and Tony up front.
Yeah, I think for the first goal, Fabianski. Well, we were all caught napping.
7 minutes.
I mean, yeah, this is. I was wondering if after the Lord Mayor show, the thing is, we back off, and we're just like marking shadows, and then Fabianski's slow to come out, gets beat for an header, which, you know, pundits and everything will go, keeper's got to do better there.
Yeah.
So he wasn't on his toes.
Elise,
Elise, yeah. You know, but okay, you know, we've been down before and come back to win games, so not a problem. But their front three really do possess blistering pace, and I think, you know, the problem for me this season has not been us going forward. Fun enough, I think the big problem has been our back line. And in a way, the midfield and the support they get, and also maybe the tactics of keep backing off has gripped the players too much, so they don't seem to make challenges. They're happy to just drop off and surrender possession. But sometimes they do it. They're so used to dropping off and surrendering possession that they do it where they really shouldn't go back to, which is the edge of the penalty area. Or actually, at some points, when you look at the Palace goals, you know, we're marking the edge of the 6-yard line. You know, Ogbonna's not the most mobile centre half. We know that. And Ogbonna, you know, the bloke's 35. I suppose needs must when we've got Aguerd injured and Mavropanos. So he is fourth choice centre back, and he put in not having a personal dig at him, but he put in the performance of a fourth choice centre back.
Yeah, a shame.
But then again, it is a shame. But then again, the bloke's not really played, has he? And then he's got a mark, you know. And Palace's front three, we'd love them at our gaff. You know, we try to buy.
Well, they haven't been doing so well, though. I mean, they hadn't won any London derbies for I don't know how long. They've not.
No, but I'll tell you what they've done is, yeah, you can see now how the manager has had time. He's bedded in, and now he's getting his
Ex-Frankfurt manager.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You know, and it's funny, isn't it? Because when everybody was looking at Moyes going, well, who are you going to replace him with?
Yeah.
You know, well, there you go.
Yeah, it could.
No, so if we had replaced Moyes back, you know, I know it's funny. I wasn't advocating change or whatever. All I was answering, I've never been one of them people, though, to say, well, who are you going to appoint then? Because, as I've said, there is someone out there that can make us into a fantastic team. Yeah. I just don't know who he is.
All right. We're going to talk about that later. Eze on 16, obviously someone we were looking at. Emerson own goal, it was a 22 on 20.
Yeah. Mateta
on the 31. He got another goal on 64. But
did you think this result was coming?
No, not at all. I thought we could turn them over.
Didn't?
I really thought we could turn them over.
Right, it is a thing, yeah? So if you remember back to last season at Crystal Palace, I think we got beat 4-3.
Yeah.
Right? But it was 4-1 or 4-2 down. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I think we scored early and then they scored 3 and then we got another one. And then they got a fourth and we got a third. So there's always goals in these games at Selhurst Park. I'm not sure I thought that, but it is the thing for me. Is when the first two go in early, you think,
You're right.
blimey.
4-3 on the 29th of April, so it was almost a year ago.
Yeah, well, you think the players would wake up, wouldn't you? And this is where I look at the players. So they're the ones out there. They've put in a performance, and I know they were running to the ground and everything, but that was on Thursday and it was Sunday. We've had a chance to recover. I was talking about this with someone at work, and I said, well, what I don't get is, maybe it's different or whatever, is tennis players go round the world. When they play a tennis tournament, they can play 5 hours every day. Nobody ever goes, oh, he's burnt out.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So why do we do it with footballers? Why do we think footballers now?
Maybe we don't see footballers as real athletes.
Well, this is the thing, but I hark back to the days, of the early '80s, when we won cups and won leagues and when we won Division 2, got the League Cup final, got the quarter final of the European Cup, played 61 games, and I think 5 of the players we used to be proud of the amount of ever presence we had in a team. And now football fans get hung up on needs to make changes. We can use, that season 81, I think we used 15, 16 players all season. Now you use that in one game.
Yeah.
But the players are fitter, the pitches are better. These are well-oiled machines. Bollocks, give them a football, let them go out and play. That's what they want to do. If they're not doing that, they're going to be training. So all this nonsense about when you look at how many games our players have played, not many have played in every game.
Yeah.
So we haven't flogged them into the...
Well, I'm sure you heard Moyes calling for smaller squads in the last week, and talking about we should have smaller squads. We're talking about the elephant in the room and his future.
I don't know about smaller squads. I'll tell you what the funny thing is, and this is, I think, a lot of we don't realise is having larger squads and having the ability to bring 5 players on as subs. The real benefit of this are the big clubs that have got better quality players sitting on the bench. But better quality players will sit on the bench at those clubs because they're at a bigger club. So Man City will have players that will sit on the bench. We are not going to... people can talk about Ben Rama and talk about the likes of Lanzini and talk about the likes of Fornals being able to leave and not being replaced. The crime for me is not letting them leave. That ain't a crime. 3 to go. They wanted to leave. Ben Rama didn't want to play with us. Weren't all that. Fornals disappointed.
Yeah.
But was blowing hot or cold. Wanted to go back to Spain. So it was his decision. We allowed it to happen. The real crime is not replacing them.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Let me read you the quote from David Moyes. This is after the Palace game, ill-timed comment. If I'm being honest, if I had my way, I would have smaller squads anyway. I'd rather have a smaller squad. I always have done. You get more problems with a bigger squad. Having a smaller squad isn't bad. But when you're playing, I think, 57 games this season and maybe 60 games last, we've had to take a big hit. Moyes admitted after a 5-2 defeat.
Right, I get what he's saying now, and this is why I do get what I understand. And it does come back to, can we keep players happy on the bench?
Yeah, we get that.
Can we? Are players going to be happy? The reason why Ben Rama threw a strop, wanted to go and everything, was because he weren't getting picked.
Well, he's not getting picked now, is he?
Hold up. But strangely enough, when he was getting picked for West Ham, in recent times, his performances never warranted him replacing whoever he came on as a sub for. So he was always going back on the bench. This is the thing.
He got taken off at weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Who's he playing for? Who's on
Leon?
Leon. He got taken off.
We are not, we are not a club where players, fantastic players, will come and sit on the bench.
Yeah.
We're not.
That's
that
why
club.
we've got to move the youth up because they will be happy sitting on the bench.
No, and that's and
we need a manager to do that. Len.
Well,
We will talk about that
We'll
soon.
cross that bridge. Yeah.
Can I give you a stat attack? Because this is an important one. 61% possession for the Palace, 39% for West Ham, 18 shots by Palace, 7 of them on target. Obviously, they scored 5 of them. West Ham, you ready for this?
Yeah, I know the stats.
4
Sean,
shots,
so-
1 on target. We
Yeah.
got 2 goals for bloody. The one shot on target went in from Antonio. We had to rely on a bloody own goal, and what a calamity that was to make it 5-2.
Yeah, I've
So,
been there. Poor
it's
keeper.
Pretty shocking. Fouls. We had 0 corners. They had 4 and 9 goals apiece. David Moyes said he was ashamed and embarrassed and apologised to the supporters that turned up and said that none of his teams had ever done that or defended like that.
Well, they
and
have
then
against
proceeded
Arsenal and against Fulham.
and then proceeded to throw his players under the bus.
I don't know. When you say throw his players under the bus, and I do find it funny when people say, we've all watched the game. What effort was there from the players?
None. And if I'm
Right,
being
so
if I'm
there
being
are
a bit argumentative, I would say it was more of a player thing than a manager thing. But
No, but
has he
this
lost
is
the
the thing that
dressing
I'm
room? Have
saying.
they given up? Are they
Well-
already on their holidays? What is it? But they didn't put a shift in that first 31 minutes,
No,
Nigel.
do you
And then
know,
the
no,
damage was
and
done.
as a funny thing is, this might be a bit contentious. I don't know.
Go on.
Is that the performance against Leverkusen? There was a certain player not playing, but he played in the last others. And I'm not talking about Emerson. And
Paquetá. No?
I struggle at times. It's all right. He can dazzle people with fancy flicks and tricks and everything. But what sets him apart from Payet and Di Canio is end product. I don't see an end product. I don't see his fancy flicks and tricks leading to goals. Payet did. Payet created goals. Di Canio created goals. Payet, what does he do? He might do a nice flick in the middle of the pitch. How many goals has it actually led to? All these tricks and spins and everything. He likes to roll around on the floor, feign injury, whine to the ref. Give me 80 million for him all day long.
Wow. Funny you should mention that. You just, by the way, just while I remember, because I meant to remember early, thanks for 2 listeners that gave us 2 tickets for 2 of our friends. Dan Numbers, and who was the other person you'll know, Nigel?
Well, Bain, I think was his.
All right, thank
I'm
you
not
for
sure
that.
it's his real name, but yes.
Thank you
Bain.
for that. Really appreciated. People who decided to turn up last minute, didn't have a ticket. You saved them. Thank you very much. It was most appreciated. And they didn't ask any money for it as well. So thank you very much. And I hope you're better now. Dan Numbers, he had a virus, so that's why he couldn't use his
Poor
ticket.
Dan.
Poor Dan
He's
Numbers.
probably swallowed his own venom.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to Paquetá, we've been told, all this talk about Man City haven't put a bid in. We've been told the 85 million release clause activates on the 1st of June. It deactivates on the 1st of July. So they've got a 1-month window. Our senior source says he ain't going on the cheap. So if they think they're going to get him on the cheap, they can go and stay, right? They either pay the release clause, and if it expires after the 1st of July, they forget it, or they can pay more. They can pay 100 million. So, and he also says, and this is obvious, no one's going to buy him while the investigation is carrying on. And there is no sign of that at the moment. I know his agents or his representatives have threatened the FA and go, look, we're going to go to the European Court of Arbitration and say you're restricting our client's trade if you don't decide. The FA needs to remember they haven't charged him, they're investigating him. So they need to charge him, at which point it goes to an independent tribunal of 3 people, 2 judges, 1 football person. Might be the West Ham ex finance director, who was obviously is on those, one of the people on the panels. And we've obviously got, or they just drop the case completely and to say, look, there's no evidence. He says, I don't bet. I know nothing about this. I've handed over my phone. There's no evidence. So in a court of law, this would be circumstantial, right? So on the same day that he gets a yellow card, 3 new accounts are opened on Betway in Pakatar Island and bet on a yellow card in that particular area. That's circumstantial, right? Coincidence, isn't it? He gets a lot of yellow cards in his game. You can't ruin someone's career on that evidence, in my view. But we'll see. Maybe if the FA don't decide by the summer, that might help us. Or would you rather Nigel take the money and run? You think that his heart's not in it anymore?
Is he still there?
He's muted himself, actually.
Well,
Sorry, I was coughing.
Yeah,
oh, right. I have that feeling now. I don't know what makes you think it, but I think he might put his tools down if he don't get his move.
yeah.
Just seems that type. I don't know what makes you think.
But the FA have got to do something to make that happen.
Well, yeah. I think you can tell what I think by what I've just said about him.
Yeah.
I actually would think, I think he feels he's outgrown West Ham. I think in his head, he's too good for us. That's what I think.
I
I've
did
got
feel a
bad
bit.
news for him.
I did feel a bit sorry for him, and I know I was the cause of it. But you know what? He's not contractually obliged. He wasn't in the squad. He didn't have to turn up. He's not a West Ham fan like Flynn Downs. His 2 sons were at home because his wife was out with her best friend in Disneyland in Paris, and her
How the
goddaughter.
fuck do you find this shit out?
Well,
What makes you repeat
Instagram. She posts it, so it was, and I think what is it? Martin Hobbs said that when everyone was giving him shit and going, he should have bought his sons. It was a school night. It's up to him. If he wants to watch it at home, he can watch it at home. We shouldn't be giving him grief. We didn't give Calvin Phillips grief for not coming. Emerson and Areola made the decision to come themselves. They probably asked for
anyone
tickets.
talking about it, Sean. I didn't even watch the fucking game. Let alone see
A
who was
lot
in
of
the
people did give Pakatar grief for not turning up and supporting his teammates, but I don't see it's any obligation. I mean, you didn't turn up, to support your teammates. Your team, because you'd rather watch it from home. You can't be asked on those European nights with all the trains and everything else. So I just think it's a bit harsh on Pakistan.
I don't know. It don't fucking look good, does it?
You think the whole team should turn up? No,
I'm not saying that. The thing is, you've just contextualise it. Do you think people should turn up or not? It's when you're not turning up and you already want to move and you're fucking snogging the opposition manager on the fucking touchline. That's when you should fucking turn up.
Yeah, for all his skill, you're right. He does. He goes down too early. Everybody knows, so he doesn't get the decisions. And sometimes he just doesn't put a shift in, does he? Some games he turns up. Sometimes he doesn't.
I've long been frustrated with him. I don't want to say modern day fans, but I don't know. Perhaps it's the FIFA generation. They're brought up that at the flick of a button or the swipe of the finger, they can spin this computer-generated footballer through the air and whatever, and it looks good. And he sort of plays football like a FIFA player, yeah. But at the end of the day, the game is still about scoring goals. And I don't see his creativity in the final third.
I would take
goals.
85 million all day long from City.
Cool, me too.
Yeah.
Be a good bit of business, that, wouldn't it?
But I wouldn't let him go on the cheap. I think the club's right. Don't let him go on the cheap.
But what's the club going to say?
To be honest, Sean, I'd take 50 to 70 million.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, that's not their mood. They're a bit like
They've got a fucking taste for it now. After
they want to stay and then go. He can stay if they don't want to pay full value for him. He can stay. Let me ask the last thing, and probably not fair to ask it on Len because he didn't watch it. How did you feel afterwards? Were you angry? Were you frustrated? Did you cry? Or were you just sort of ambivalent and went?
Oh, me.
Yeah.
It was.
Did it ruin your weekend? What was left on Sunday? No, I'm not like that.
I hate to say things like that, and I can't,
You're
whatever.
immune to it.
I've seen it. You know, you just see it. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
know,
try and tell
there's,
the
there's a
youngsters.
bit of me that think as well. The young fans, you know, there's a section of young fans that are very pro Moyes.
Yeah.
Like ultra. If you look at the ultra Moyes fans, they're young.
Yeah.
But then when you look at it on the face of it, and it is quite, I suppose there has been a form set. You know, this is the most successful period the club has had since 2005-06, realistically. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, so you can see why they will cling to Moyes, because he's the one
Yeah.
that's done it. The problem with Moyes is when he came into the club, it was feast or famine, because he turns up and he has to save us from relegation. And instead of having mid-table mediocrity like he's having this season, he goes and finishes fucking 6th, and it could have been better. And then he follows that up with a European semi-final and finishes in 7th. We then fall away, no mid-table mediocrity, no, we go full on, let's have a relegation battle. Though, to be fair, there were 9 other teams in the relegation battle with us. So after Premier League was fighting it. But he manages to, you know, keep us up. But he then wins a legitimate trophy, a major honour, our first in 42 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he follows that up with a season that, you know, is going to drop away. I still think we finish top 10. I actually think we'll finish 8th or 9th.
Well, that was my first question to both of you, right? We're currently 8th on 48 points. Newcastle and Manchester United 2 points above us.
Yeah.
With 2 games in hand, but on 50. Tottenham out of reach on 60.
Yeah.
Behind us, 9th is Chelsea, 1 point behind us with
Losing
2 games
tonight.
in hand.
Yeah.
Brighton, 4 points behind us, 2 games in hand. Wolverhampton Wanderers, 43, 1 game in hand.
Yeah.
Fulham on 42, same
catching
games
us.
as us. And AFC Bournemouth also on 42.
I don't think Fulham and Wolves are catching us.
Yeah. And after that, it goes down to 36th, 14th place. So we're not dropping down that. So we could be anywhere between, believe it or not, 6th and 6th and 13th.
Yeah. Well, let's get this. Say we
4
do
games.
finish top 10. Say we finished 9th.
Yeah.
Let's say we finished 9th. Yeah. Which is an improvement on the 14th of last season.
Yeah, it is.
We've had the quarter final of the League Cup, knocked out by the eventual winners at Anfield. We've had the quarter final of a European Cup, could be knocked out by the eventual winners. Yeah, let's see. And our gratitude to the manager is see you later.
Well, let's come to that in a minute.
Never been done.
All right,
Never
you
been
can say
done.
all these things you want if you feel
but it's
fucking
never
bored.
been done by a West Ham United team at a club ever.
Well, before we get to that, let me ask you both a quick question before, and then we're going to talk to the manager whether you think he's done. Can we and will we qualify for Europe? Starting with you, Nigel.
No.
Len.
No, nowhere near it.
And I think
Never
you're
even
right.
looked like it once this season.
I think even if we won the last 4 games, which what is it?
No, actually,
Liverpool.
here's that. If you win the last 4 games, yeah, I think you will.
Yeah, but you got to beat Liverpool,
Chelsea, Manchester City, and Luton.
Yeah.
We could either be Norway in the Eurovision Song Contest, yeah, or we could be ABBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think maybe we beat Luton and we get 51 points?
And that's a disappointment. I just think that.
So I think
if
we're all saying
if you can't beat Fulham, yeah. If you can't beat Fulham and you can't beat Palace, or at least get a point at Palace, and not embarrass, then actually, Liverpool ain't firing on all cylinders. Let's get this right. But they'll pull a result out. Chelsea, we might have half a chance.
Yeah, I'm going
Luton,
to
who knows?
That's my away game, obviously, in the boxes.
You're going to...
who knows?
My favourite restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Len, of course I am.
Canalettos.
Canalettos.
Yeah.
Who knows what'll happen against Luton? And then Man City, I'm hoping to get tickets for the game and see the Premier League trophy awarded.
Would you come to Canalettos and get your ticket,
Who, me?
Len? Both of you.
All right. Yeah, I probably would.
Okay. All right. Leave it with me.
Yeah.
Leave it with me. So
Bank holiday weekend, isn't it?
it is, yeah. So, question. Is the manager finished? So, by the way, I agree with you.
Yes.
Europe's out. So, start with you, Len. Is the manager finished?
Yes.
Nigel?
Loaded question, because I think there's a few twists and turns to happen.
All right. We're going to talk about what the senior source says in a minute, but I want to get, and I'll give my. Is he finished?
Well, is me thinking?
Go on.
And this is the thing. There's always redemption, yeah?
Yep.
I've seen it before with West, and this is where I go, well, I've seen it happen before. I've seen it before with West Ham, in a worse position than this, turn up and win the last few games. Yeah, including beating a Liverpool. And you think, ooh, didn't see that happening. Well, what if it does happen? What if it does happen and he gets us to 58, 60 points? Well, then... I can't see how.
Go on then. But what's your gut feeling? Is he finished?
My gut feeling is that we'll be lucky to take 3 points out of the next 4 games.
And then you think he's gone.
And then I think what'll happen is now, and it is starting now, is the era of the fans is moving from Moyes onto Sullivan.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happens, yeah, the only thing he can do to get the fans off his back, because he don't like it, is to fire the manager.
So let's start. So I think he's done, by the way, and I have had a conversation. I'm not letting Nick cash out early because there's a small chance. There's 2 small chances, right? He's 90% done. And what the unofficial stance from the senior sources, quote, no decision has been made or will be made for some time. We must concentrate on our remaining league games, right? So that is the official quote, right? And that's been told to the media. We've still got a manager. We're going to honour his contract to the end of the season because that's what they do. We're not going to sack him now.
Honour.
Well, their word, not mine. And therefore, he's not going to be sacked. So I think we can all agree he's not going to get sacked for the last 4 games. I know a lot of people were calling for that after the Palace game. The Palace game was a watershed moment. The senior source was not a happy bunny. He was there. One of his family was there, along with Tim Steiden.
You couldn't make your mind up what one it was it?
Well, he's had a good life, hasn't he?
Well, I could look like he was trying to decide if he was called Jack or Jacqueline. But,
yeah. But anyway, look, like a lot of people, not very happy. But here's the 2 saving points. And you might not like them, but I'm going to tell you what they are anyway. Number 1, he qualifies for Europe. Saves his job. Okay? Unlikely. Saves his job if he qualifies for Europe for a 4th year running. Right? Don't think it's going to happen. The other one, and this is probably not very palatable to you or other fans, is if they cannot find someone that's available better, then they may offer him a short-term contract of another year. Now, if I was him, I would, a bit like Sam Allardyce on his recent podcast, I would tell him to stick it, you know?
Well,
you're going to give me an extra 12 months because you can't find anyone else?
Your memory isn't very good because we've been in this situation before.
Yeah, he was offered a 6-month contract and he took it because he wanted to prove them wrong.
He got fired.
Who got fired?
Moyes. Didn't get a contract extension.
No, he didn't get fired. He didn't get a contract extension.
Well, it's the same.
Well, you and I know. Hang on, no. you and I know is a short gap solution because they already had done the deal with Pellegrini, and it was just to fill out.
Well,
that
that
6
was
months.
daft then. So why is it coming? You're saying, I mean,
So
you're talking about a man,
I'm
decisions
sure
of a man
if he's got any
who has
pride or
experience in
ego,
this.
it would say, "Well, fuck." I mean, this is what it was hilarious to watch Sam Allardyce on the podcast with a very red nose Stuart Pearce last week, where he went, "Has he signed a new contract? Oh, they did that with me." And then Sam Allardyce proceeded to say how it was his choice, and that someone had leaked he wasn't getting us. So I just rang up David Sullivan. I said, "Thanks for everything. Cheers, mate. Bye." Like it was his choice, but the decision already made. It'd been leaked to him, so he jumped before he was pushed. I don't think that's your own choice, is it?
No, if West Ham
Well,
had offered
but if the manager that ain't got the bollocks to sack a man anyway, when the
He's not
fucking
being
gig's
sacked
done.
though. In
No, but in
Sullivan's
both cases,
eyes, they're not being sacked. They've come to the end of their contract.
yeah.
Thank you
Well,
very
if
much.
that makes him feel better, good for him. In both circumstances, Allardyce and Moyes, party's gone for too long, and you've just wasted the fucking
I
fans'
think,
enjoyment
as I said,
and the
90%.
club's
I think he's
future.
done. I'll pay my charity bet, and I'll admit I think lots of things have changed before we made that bet. But you know what? I'll make the
the thing is,
I think the
right,
money's going to cystic fibrosis.
Right.
No
charity.
shit.
this
You
is
were
the thing.
never winning that bet.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Well, I
think
don't
was,
know.
but there
No,
you
I think
go.
you're wrong. I think there was always a possibility of Moyes staying. And here's the thing: is that I don't know if he didn't earn a new contract last June, then perhaps he was never getting one. And this is the point of it. And this sums up actually this and whether managers will ever look at who the owner is before they join a club. I'm sure there are some that will look at it and think, imagine that. Imagine being the manager. Ignore how he's done it or whatever. Imagine being the manager that lifts a football club like West Ham, a major trophy. He does it without losing a game, winning 13, drawing 1. And the gratitude is, see how you get on this season. We might give you a new contract. Where any other club would have put down
Give
another
him an
2.
extension straight away.
Would have been to give him another 2 or 3. The reason why we're in this malaise, and maybe the season's died a death and everything, maybe or whatever. It could be, for all we know, the club didn't want to strengthen in January because they were worried about Moyes not being around. Yeah.
Well, that's what a lot of people
likely.
said.
Why
That's not
spend
what the
money?
senior source said.
No,
He says we were offered, and he turned lots of players down. We offered him, and he was
Well,
only.
yeah, but he says a lot.
Why is he
Sure.
saying that? Why is he telling you
Yeah.
that then?
This
I
is
don't
the
know.
thing, So at the end of the day, nothing in this club will change for me, right? Say if we'll talk about new managers, nothing's going to change.
No, I agree with you there.
All right, let's
Yeah.
talk about new managers. Let's assume he is going. Yeah, I lose my bet. I'm the puppet and not the. Sorry, am I?
No, you're the
I'm
Muppet.
I'm not the Muppet. I'm the puppet.
And you're the puppet.
No, it was Nick. If he'd lost, he was the Muppet. I'm the puppet.
Well, you're already the puppet.
Anywho, let's talk about managers. Now, one of the things they can't do is openly say they're looking for another manager while
No,
they
exactly.
haven't even said it. So, of course, they're going to go, oh, no, we can't speculate. Well, we're going to honour the... But it makes sense. Whether there's a small chance of him staying or not, it makes sense that Tim Steiden and others and Will Salthouse and other people are looking in the market on who's available and talking to people. And we've had talk about Michael Carrick and Graham Potter and Fonseca and Will Still and Steve Cooper and Arnie Slot and or Stephen Gerrard and all these different other players. Galtieri, who is out in Dubai, the French guy who was it? Who did he manage? Was it PSG? Anyway, there's been a lot of names until yesterday, and then obviously we get linked with he's on his plane, he's on his way. First of all, it was the plane's being paid by David Sullivan and West Ham, private jet flying him here, and some people, not naming them, Nick, got a little bit excited and said the players at Sporting Lisbon had given 2 days off, and he said his goodbyes, and well, that wasn't going to happen. But he did fly to Stansted, and he did fly back a few hours later. Now, talking to my source who knows about whether people get picked up or people went to Stansted, there was no one from West Ham there, but we don't know. We don't know whether he met her. It seems a long way. If you were coming, why would you come to London? I mean, maybe there is an office. Liverpool have an office in London. They could have met.
And Man United, I've been to the pair.
And
of
Man United, there are offices in London. It seems strange. If it was to meet an agent, you'd think the agent would fly to him. I just wonder, right? And when I've spoken to people, journalists and people in the know and agents, they all say the same thing when this story broke from, this doesn't smell right. This doesn't smell right. This has all the hallmarks of an agent story of trying to force Liverpool's hand.
Of course it does.
And from, I'm sad to say, and West Ham playing along, because they're
happy to play along.
Happy to play along because one, it takes the heat off of them. It takes the heat off of Moyes. It takes the heat off of the loss against Palace, and it probably helps a little bit with, dare I say it, season ticket renewals for some who are gullible to go, oh well, if he's coming, I'm definitely renewing. And there has been a bit of that in social media. I don't believe it. I'd love to be proved wrong. And here's my main reason, and I've spoken to lots of other people. Although there is a clause of about 12.8 million release clause, my understanding, if it's a foreign club, the release clause is 17 million. David Sullivan has never, ever, ever, ever paid compensation for an incoming manager. Manuel Pellegrini bought himself out his own contract, and everyone else were free agents. It's not what he does. He didn't do it at Birmingham. He's never done it at West Ham. And we are supposed to believe that he's going to pay 17 million for this manager. No banana, no sale. Sorry. I don't want to put water, and I know Nick's going to be upset because he thinks it's a done deal. I think this is agents playing games and West Ham playing along.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's surprised in that. I mean,
look, I'd love him as manager. He's not proven, but he looks good.
I was just about to say, you can't blame people for having a bit of hope. We've had none all season.
The other guy, the name got mentioned to me, but I've since been told Tim Steiner doesn't fancy him, is the ex-West Ham coach that is the manager of
Edin Terzic.
Yeah, Edin. How do you pronounce it?
Dortmund.
Edin
Terzic. I've been bestowing him as a possible.
Yeah, so
I'm feeling that Dortmund will be maybe. They're sitting fifth at the moment.
Yeah,
though they are in the semi-finals of the Champions League.
He's done all right, and someone said to me,
should have won the league last season.
And said, "Look, he's German. He'll get on with Tim Steiden. He knows West Ham. He's done really well." And then
I don't think he is German.
No, he was, but he is German Croat. So he was actually born in Germany.
Yes,
Croatian parents, but he was born in Germany, so he's got German citizenship.
Oh.
Interestingly, I got a call from a journalist, quite a very well-known journalist, and went, "Yeah, Sean, you're wrong there." Tim Steiden looked at him and decided he's not for us.
I'm surprised at that. If that's the case, I'm sure Dortmund fans will be quite. He's quite well liked at Dortmund.
Yeah, he is. We was at Dortmund before he came to us, and afterwards.
Yes,
I think
that's
he only went to what's it called, the Turkish Beşiktaş.
Yeah, with Slav.
But he's really been at Dortmund for years and years before and after, really.
Well, he was a coach there. He got the job on a temporary basis. Did well.
He's done well.
Should have won the title last season. All they had to do was win at home to Mainz.
What is his playing style, though? You know a bit more about German football.
I think much like Slaven, actually. A lot of Germans do play with the 4-3-3. If you think when we bought Haller from Frankfurt, he'd been playing in a front three.
Yeah.
So it I think it would fit in well.
Well, I've been told it's not going to happen. Graham Potter's not going to happen. They think he's a bit of a fraud, apparently, allegedly.
The fucking hell, come out
Well,
with
he's
that.
not a fraud. I mean, that is a bit.
fuck
Whoever
yes.
says that is.
Well,
That
maybe I
sounds more
should.
like an agent,
Fucking
Sean.
hell.
than a club
He was
insider.
flattered by Brighton's system.
Yes, possibly.
Michael Carrick, no.
Yeah. Far too entertaining.
Rafa Benitez, no. Will Still, admired, but still too much of a gamble. The Ipswich guy, what's his name?
No idea.
McKenna.
Yeah, no.
No.
Too much of a gamble.
Oh, too much of a gamble.
Steve Cooper, unlikely. Arnie Slot, unlikely.
Well,
Mark
he's going
Noble,
Liverpool.
no way. Stephen Gerrard, no. Jose Mourinho, not in a million years. Sam Allardyce, not in a million years. All of these, by the way, are all in the odds. It's interesting that Graham Potter, at the moment tonight, I'm just looking at him now, is 5-2 favourite. Let's talk
Because
about,
they know what fucking Sullivan's like.
well, you know, what's his name? Ruben Amorin? How's he pronounce his name?
Amorim, isn't it?
Amorin. He was odds on favourite 6-4 last night. You get 7 or even
Yeah, someone
7
put
to
20
1
quid
today.
on.
Yeah,
This is dead market.
7 to 1. I just don't think he's going to come. There was
Sean.
Italian press, wasn't there? What's this, Lupi, or do you know what his name is? That is the, who's he the manager of?
I keep saying Lupitago. Sean, tell me, is Fonseca one of Silkman's clients?
I don't know. I can ask. But
I think
Fonseca,
I heard he was.
have you seen the video of Fonseca where he talks about how he's used youth and he's really big on youth and wants to
I
bring them
thought
through
that was
it?
the other guy.
I thought it was
I think
Fonseca.
that's who we'll get, Fonseca.
Yeah,
If it's one of Silkman's.
Do you know what? I'll ask. All right.
Yeah, you ask, because that's what I heard.
Yeah, well, you might be right. I mean, I think, all you can do at the moment is saying, if the position was available, would you do it? Most people won't just say, yeah. I'm just going, well, if I'm available, I might do it. It really depends on, I think it's available. Look, and let's not second guess it. Like I said to Nick, I'm not ready to throw the towel in yet. There's 4 more games.
Because you know they can fuck up, so...
There's 4 more games. Let's see what happens. I don't think... This doesn't get done in May, by the way. I think we might have to wait till June to this.
Well, fucking season ticket renewal's the 2nd, so we want it in May.
Well, I think it might be after the season ticket renewal. We'll see.
Wow.
We'll see.
Maybe that's deliberate.
When I asked one of my sources whether anyone had been to Stansted Airport, I was told that 2 players had been picked up and had medicals, but they wouldn't tell me names, where they come from, etc. Now, assuming if they've got medicals, they must be free agents or given permission by the club or youth players. But it's interesting that we're getting medicals done now, which is, in April. But more of that. If I can find more out, I will tell you. That's about it, guys, I think, from the news. There's nothing really else going on. The only story in town is who's going to replace David Moyes.
Thank Christ for that.
But
Tell the story I want to hear.
well, you'll be happy with that, won't you? And look, I hope that we give him a bit. It would be, in some ways, if I'm being a bit, it would be great to give him a send-off at Luton. If the decision was made and go, do you know what? If Sullivan said, I've sat down with David Moyes and I've told him I'm not renewing his contract. We've made an agreement between us and we knew it was his last game. I think West Ham fans would accept that and give him a send-off against Luton.
I don't know. I'm never. It's saying that it's a weird to give it's a very un-West Ham thing to do, to give a manager a good send-off.
I know.
Because
just get sacked.
Because when when you think about it, we've never really been in this position ever.
Yeah.
With a manager.
It's won some silver work. Yeah.
Well, you know, at the end of the day,
Silverware, not silver work.
Lyle's, I suppose Greenwood, maybe it happened. Those that can, you know, Greenwood moved upstairs 50 years ago, as it was the other day. But he sort of moved upstairs at the end of 73-74 season. Maybe that coincided with actual Bobby Moore leaving and the way that came about and everything else. Maybe because he did take a bit of stick for that, Ron Greenwood, to be fair. Maybe he decided to move upstairs. Quite how the fans perceived it then, but he was still at the club and he was still manager of the club. You know, every other manager, you know, Lyle, 3 poor seasons on the trot, ended in relegation. Macari didn't turn up. Bonds, well, didn't get afforded. He quit sitting on his stool as such. Redknapp, I think a few people were glad to see the back of him. He'd had a poor season, opened his mouth too many times. You know, Rhoda, relegation.
Yeah.
Pardew, we were fighting relegate. You know, the list is so no one's been afforded that. It'd be interesting, actually, if the decision was made.
Well, let me see if I can find out for next week. Anyway, we're going to wrap up this episode because we're going to be back for question time. Predictions before we go. Lenny boy, Liverpool at home. I hope you're coming. I hope we have a little bit of a drinky poos.
Oh, no, my ticket's been sold on exchange.
Oh,
We're starting the golf early this year.
Oh,
You're not coming
I think
Liverpool.
that everyone's had enough.
Oh.
I'm trying to get there for the Luton game. It's only because it's early.
Okay.
It's the early kick-off.
What
I
is?
might better get the Luton one.
What, Liverpool's early kick-off?
Yeah,
Oh, was it?
yeah.
Anyway, prediction, Len. Even though you're not coming.
3-0 Liverpool.
Nigel. The Liverpool game is at 12:30. Yeah.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
27th. What's the 27th?
That's Saturday.
Saturday. 12:30 on a Saturday. Wow.
Oh, I've been planning to do things on Saturday. I need to unplan them. I thought we were playing Sunday.
That's
No,
just
you
what
get
I
too
got
used to
caught
it.
at as well.
Yeah, Saturday.
I just say completely yes, 100% yes. Not thinking that
Yeah.
one would ever play on a fucking Saturday, innit?
Yeah. Saturday. Saturday,
Early
12:30.
game.
I know our last Saturday 3 o'clock kick-off was September.
All right. So, anyway, predictions.
Oh, lose 2-0.
I'm going for 1-0 win because we're going to win our last 4 games. I'm ultimate.
Fucking dumb.
I'm ultimate. Anyway, I've been Sean. Lena has been.
Bored. Not with the podcast, but at the fucking football bit.
And Nigel has been.
Resigned to the fact.
Come on, you irons.
Bobby Moore. More than just a podcast. Bobby Moore. More than just a podcast.
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
Wankers. Fucking embarrassing. Waste of our time. Fucking waste of our time.